Dear students, let us begin with the third part of the lesson on climate change and its implications for India, in which we will discuss about shift in India's energy production, India's initiative for bilateral and multilateral energy cooperation, and India's concern over GHG's emissions. Let us discuss about shift in India's energy production. India is one of the main countries in the world that is concerned with reducing carbon dioxide emission. It wants to reduce its dependency on other countries for its energy needs. The global estimated oil reserves were estimated to be 1,188 billion barrels and proven gas reserves were estimated to be 6,400 trillion cubic feet. It is expected that oil and gas will be available only for few years. If this is going to be the reality, then India, which is heavily dependent on imports, should explore alternatives to secure its energy needs like nuclear energy. High prices for fossil fuels allow nuclear power to become economically competitive with generation from coal, natural gas and liquids, despite the relatively high capital and maintenance costs associated with nuclear power plants. The power sector is responsible for the direct carbon dioxide emissions in India, followed by iron and steel, road, railways and air transport and coal. Improving the efficiency of coal and electricity use could significantly reduce emissions from these sectors. India is embracing decentralized energy solutions, including renewable powered microgrids to electrify rural areas. This strategy empowers isolated communities, promoting sustainable development and ensuring access to electricity in remote regions. India is also exploring smart grid technologies to enhance the efficiency of electricity delivery. Smart grids enable real-time monitoring, reduce transmission losses and integrate renewable energy sources seamlessly into the existing grid infrastructure. India has immense potential for offshore wind energy along its extensive coastline. By harnessing offshore wind resources, India can diversify its renewable energy mix and reduce dependency on fossil fuels. India's initiative for bilateral and multilateral energy cooperation. India has initiated bilateral energy cooperation with Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal and Myanmar, and regional cooperation such as South Asia Regional Initiative for Energy Integration, India-Pakistan-Iran Pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Central Asia, South Asia Electricity Transmission and Trade Project, and India-Bangladesh, Myanmar. India has been successful in importing hydropower from Bhutan. India and Bhutan had an agreement related to hydroelectric power supply. Under this agreement, Bhutan would supply surplus power to India. Bhutan exports 80% of its energy generation to India, which accounts for 14% of its GDP. India is able to supply power to West Bengal, Orissa and the northeastern parts of India. However, India needs to upgrade its transmission lines to increase its access to Bhutanese power. India's concern over GHG emissions. The future impacts of climate change identified by the Government of India's national communications include decreased snow cover affecting snow-fed and glacial systems such as the Ganges and Brahmaputra. 70% of the summer flow of the Ganges comes from meltwater. Erratic monsoon with serious effects on rain-fed agriculture, peninsular rivers, water and power supply. Drop in wheat production by 4 to 5 million tons with even a 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature. Rising sea levels causing displacement along one of the most densely populated coastlines in the world, threatened freshwater sources and mangrove ecosystems. increased frequency and intensity of floods, increased vulnerability of people in coastal, arid and semi-arid zones of the country. Studies indicate that over 50% of India's forests are likely to experience shift in forest types, adversely impacting associated biodiversity, regional climate dynamics and livelihoods based on forest products. India has to join with other countries in a collaborative effort to bring about a strategic shift across the globe from production and consumption patterns based on carbon-based fossil fuels to those based on renewable energy and non-carbon fuels, because it is the question of life and death for every human being in the world. India must prioritize areas such as energy efficiency in lighting, transport and power generation, and reduce the energy intensity of industrial production. For instance, India is about 4.5 times more inefficient than the United States in production and even more so than some European countries. For every unit of consumption, India generates about 2 to 3 times more carbon dioxide emissions than the industrial countries. The US per capita consumption of energy is 49 times that of India and of transport 146 times that of India. Let us summarize what we have discussed so far in this lesson. India maintains that though it was not a part of the problem, it wants to be a part of the solution, and India with per capita carbon emissions of a little more than 1 ton cannot create a problem for the survival of the world. India is ready to reduce energy intensity. While India is trying to transcend its role from South Asia to the rest of the world, India must play a constructive role in mitigating emissions of carbon dioxide. I hope you understood the climate change and its implications for India. We have concluded our lesson. Thank you.